Okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone to today's conversation with the Messiah and Heart of God, Mr. Zahid Khan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you also for our special guest,
Yes.
Miss Matilda, today.
Yes.
Hello, Matilda.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Zahid, today I would like to focus a little bit on this red book. God reveals himself to mankind as a visible God, especially in the very beginning of God's development stages and his original characteristics. And because when I read through it with a couple of friends, many questions came up, and I think there's many parts which I did not understand, but probably also many other people have similar questions. So I would like to ask you a couple of those questions today. Maybe because it's not so long, let me start to read those first two paragraphs, and then I ask my questions about it, so that our listeners will also have the context.
Okay.
As I write this book, I often lack the knowledge to explain the modern intellectual man about God, God's development, and his original characteristics in scientific terms. As I mentioned before, in the deepest stage of darkness, I observed the movement of life elements without a specific goal. At first, these life elements were invisible in a black hole covered by the deepest darkness. Later, they became visible, but they were without any order, discipline, and principles. God indicated to me that here began the first cause of his mechanical process. Then came the second stage, where he entered from the mechanical process into the unconscious stage in the eternity. In this stage were also no order, discipline, and principles. In the third stage, God became conscious and aware of the dark environment surrounding him. At first, God was surrounded by many dark shells and unable to do anything in the darkest eternity. The shells of darkness covered and dominated him. They prevented God from coming out of the darkness. It is amazing that the beginning of God's mechanical growth process took place in the deepest darkness. But even at the beginning of this process, the many shells of darkness blocked and dominated God's consciousness. So it was not possible for him to break through these shells. So maybe until here, because there's so many things in there.
Yes.
And this goes so deep.
And what is the question?
My first question is about this mechanical process, because it's a term that, because I come from a scientific and a physics background also, has a certain connotation for me, which I cannot quite fit into this picture. So maybe you can give me a little bit more insight into this, what you mean with this mechanical process.
Yes. Let me see if it's right.
Team up.
Okay, danke. Science today is taking black cloud away from religious people. And science saying today that God is the first cause, and this cause is the reason for the life. Okay. Religious people say God is dwelling in his own creation. Science says no. God has his own existence, which has nothing to do with his creation. But he He is guiding the law now. Law, so this creation can work. In this mechanical process, we should know that there was also mechanical, this male and female element in this matter. Male and female element.
Mhm.
Until this point, we can say that blind law was meeting each other to make a existence of this mechanical process, which we call creator. So I don't believe all the way blind law function, but here, same thing, I don't believe evolution theory is all the way right, but evolution theory lays some process in this evolution, okay? Like a life began with water, with the one cell, then later water have to be separate with its dead matter. Then life was continue growing in a desert element, then nature, and then continue this process. So I say this mechanical process which took explosion, this was the blind law.
Mhm.
But question is here, which remain for science and for us together. We know certain gases which is existing now in our Earth, exactly 21% oxygen, 2 element hydrogen, 1 element oxygen, water counts. That's okay, that's what we know.
Yeah.
Hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, many things. But science says this is not true. Before the creation, it before the creation, it was existing countless gases. And now these gases have their own energy. But when God, as a mechanical process, came to spiritual process, how come this? When baby is here is a physical process. Okay? When baby come out, this is a soul system, subject of universal prime force. In the time, God don't have this system. So that's why God don't have a body. Okay?
Okay.
That's why we have a body, but God did not have a body because now everything is in order. Until baby comes, physical process. When it comes, soul system is working, which is all the energies of God. Only in the case of God, there was no physical process. So when this mechanical process took place, this all countless gases was making many blind explosions. Yeah.
When you're talking about gases, should I think about this like our physical gases? Because in many places you said this physical universe came much later.
Object, there's an object gases, horizontal.
Okay.
There was a subject, spiritual law,
Okay.
which was not in the order.
Okay.
Only what God did, when he came unconscious state to conscious, he put in the order everything.
Okay, so it is something like we have a gases in this material world, but from a spiritual, vertical
Yes,
point of view. Okay.
yes. So,
So when you're talking about gases, this is an analogy,
yes,
a metaphor. Okay.
yes. For example, Socrates, who is the philosopher,
Okay.
he says that matter was with God or God was with dead matter. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Socrates, he says that matter was with God or God was with that matter. So he says everything was hand to hand, actually. So what God did it, he brought everything order and he used the force. All the gases become part of him. Okay, that's very interesting in Quran say, we ask heaven and earth, you want to join me willingly or you want to join me that I use my violent energy. And so over there is symbol message that they don't want you to join God because they was unconscious. God brought in the order.
Mm.
So what God did, he took everything. He took everything, all the energy and brought part of it. So now these all energies, which are million gases spiritually, yeah. But this is now object, a part of God. That's why we call God throne. But throne, our understanding is like a emperor have throne.
Mm.
It's not like this. They are the circle of countless trillion circle, which are those gases actually. This is the throne of God actually, today. So we can say, science say, everything was a disorder. When God became mechanical process to be conscious, now how long take to become that he himself was existing? Time cannot go so far
Mm.
in this case. Time was not even existing. Yes. Now the question is, science say, if we want to know more cause, which can tell God more, can guide us to God, they make a 60-kilometer experiment in the France actually. Yes, but until now it's not functioning.
Mm.
They wanted to make same explosion, like a creation came out with explosion. You know, there were substantial gases, explosion. Since this time, the species are traveling in the eternity, which we call planet, star, everything. They say there is some more element which gonna be 24 element, which gonna be Godhead writing. It will tell us how existence of God took place. Our problem is we are giving religious people taking science work in their hand, and then they call Galileo, you are a liar.
Mm.
And then later, science say Galileo was right. Religious people are blind and wrong. So the basic knowledge which I brought, this is not a scientist knowledge. This is my observation. I'm not a scientist. That's my observation, how things was moving there. And my experiences. Yes, all my life. And now God showing something more. But this knowledge which I brought, my observation and experiences, this can be used, God's son and daughter, who will be greater scientists than Einstein. You got it?
Yes.
Because they're gonna have, they will understand my observation. So one to one, they will discover everything. But who give them this foundation? I. Yeah.
Mm.
So they came people later scientists who was a much forward than Einstein, and they discovered it because they were a scientist, they was a messiah, and they were traveling, so they could discover how things came in the order.
Mm.
Yeah. So like one time when I meet God in the past, when I meet in God in the past, I saw him small boy, but he had no hair. Okay, and I fell on his feet, and I say, "You are my God, you are my God, oh my God." That means even that time, age cannot describe the way I saw 3-year-old, but he was so far in the science. Sorry, I have to take something.
Yes, please do.
Allergy tablet, yeah.
Yes.
Hallo?
Ja, ich brauche Hochkontakt und Energietablet.
Ja, okay. Ich
Und
komme.
komm zu da, ja.
Ja.
Even age cannot describe. He looked like a 3-year-old boy. But he was so far. He was so far in science that science never can reach there. Because when he convert to light, he was coming bald. Crystal blue. When he saw my fear, he changed to boy. So even that time, God was too far in the science, which science cannot reach it.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you. Then as we continue in this text, it continues, then came the second stage where he entered from the mechanical process into the unconscious stage in the eternity. In this stage were also no order, discipline, and principles. In the third stage, God became conscious and aware of the dark environment surrounding him.
Yes.
So to me, the question came, what is this environment? And also those gases which you were talking about, was this something in the environment of God? Was this something which God created? Or was it there before God came? Or how should we think of this?
This we can say it was before God came, before his mechanical process.
Okay.
An environment was a blind law who was without order, without direction.
Okay.
Without order and without direction. This was everything, no order actually. That's why we call God creator, because he brought everything in order actually. When? How much time took? Trillion years? Nobody knows. Or more. When he became conscious. Coming conscious, still he was calling in the dark eternity if there is somebody else there.
Mm.
That means he was not sure that he is the alone. That's why he say, I'm the only God. There's no God beside me. The way Islam say. You see?
Yes.
So, Mario, that
So,
means this environment was created by God. He has to come out from this environment.
mhm,
Do you understand me?
yes.
There was so much dominating blind law, and he was in all those shell actually. So, how long took to break those shell of this dark blind law matters? Nobody knows. Yes.
And how should we think of this blind law? Because it's a very strange concept for me to have this blind laws existing before God, or
Very simple. God give us now every example in our life. Yeah.
yes,
When you sleep with women, how many cell you throw?
many millions, I don't know.
360,000 women can be pregnant.
Yeah.
And what take place? Only one cell. Where goes the other cell? I'm asking you.
Yes.
That's why they say, God says, if you observe my creation, you go deeper, you're going to have all the answer how I came out from darkness.
Mhm.
So 3.5 million children you can make pregnant. Only one cell after where other cell goes, there's a disorder.
Mm.
Okay, we can take a million, but let's come to 5. After 5, backward. 4,
4,
after 4,
3,
3, after 3, 2, and after 2, 1. And after 1,
nothing.
nothing. You see? And that's why science say God is the first cause. There was no 1 before. There was 0, 0, 0, 0, but no 1. Yes. And if God would not exist, the order what you see in the creation, this will be gone. Because they are existing because of God. So if God don't exist, or let's say God goes away, then what's left? 0.
Mm.
It means we are standing again same place, which creation can fall and disappear. That's why we're saying, because God is the reason that all the movement of creation, of external creation and internal creation taking place.
Mm.
You got it? So they are still showing us 3.5 million children in one mother womb. How can take place? 3.5 children, million. So God telling, I'm a God who brought things in order. If you take away this order, you take away this unconscious state and my conscious state, there is nothing. That's why he say, I'm a pure, I'm transcend the time and space. That means time cannot reach there. And space also cannot reach there. He is higher than any realm space. He is higher than any time you could imagine. Muhammad make a mistake here. He said, God is time. He make a great mistake. God is not a time. God is a witness on time. God is a beyond the time. It's a small example we see in our life, but we don't want to see. We don't go so deep. Yeah. This was your question? Yeah.
This was the next question, yes. I have a couple of more questions, if you don't mind.
I'm just tell me.
Later in this chapter,
Yeah, just one minute. I'm
it
listening.
yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, later in this chapter, you're talking about the development of emotion in God. It reads, while God's consciousness existed in the deepest darkness, he wanted to break through through its shells. God was yearning to escape the darkness. God said to me, "O Zahid, the first emotion of love grew in me, and I realized that I was alone.
Hmm.
If this feeling had not developed in my consciousness, I would not have been able to get out of the shells of this unimaginable darkness." So it says the first emotion of love grew in me. And I could not quite figure out how this, because love for me is always has some object, which is or some subject which some relationship can establish.
Mhm.
But God was alone. So what was the nature of this love, and
Nee,
what was its partner?
Hindi-Sprache. Hindi-Sprache, we say language. Sadness is the possession of love. गम प्यार की दौलत है समझे you got it or no
That is the realization of this emptiness was
sadness.
this beginning of love.
So when God became awareness, he had no emotion.
Okay.
He was in the state of mental state. Mental state, like a child trying to become aware. More child grow, more he aware. So God was trying to aware this environment. Okay? So mental state, he could not create anything
Mhm.
because he himself had to be realized that he is alone. But which stage was this third?
This was, I think so, yes. Was it later?
Mhm.
Was later.
But when he was calling, if there is some life,
Yes.
this was a mental state. Later, when he discovered he is the only one, he felt empty. He felt lonely. Now, difference is between lonely and alone. When you are lonely, you longing. When you are alone, you are subject.
Mhm.
You are not lost. Do you understand me? And so this stage, this emptiness, this loneliness, creating the emotion because there's nobody beside. And God got it tired that he's alone. And no answer is. So this emptiness, loneliness, this dark eternity, he becoming emotion. So the emptiness is very much high driving power. Loneliness when you are helpless. Alone when you subject. So this part when he became emotion, because he wants someone else like him. And there was no one like him. There began the emotion.
Mhm.
And this emotion later on was a cause to give you life to this external and internal creation. If you would live 300 years later, then my observation and my experiences, science, who was Messiah, but there was a scientist. They discovered everything.
Wow.
They was wondering, my observation and my experience, they went one to one, and they discovered, aha. So you would have all the answer. Now I'm giving you my observation. And I wrote in the Ophabarum, intellectual man cannot understand because I am a prophet. I am not a scientist. But this my observation and experience are the foundation for the future medicine, science. The difference is only they will be called son and daughter. That's why they will discover.
Mhm.
They are not called son and daughter. Yeah. So 300 years later, if you born, you have all the answers. Or 150 years. Or if you want, I should study now science and then come back. Then a question is, in this world, there are so many knowledge. How many knowledge shall I study?
No, you continue revealing what no one else can reveal right now.
But that's what I'm doing.
That's much more important, I think.
Yeah.
I have one last question,
Please.
if you don't mind. It's regarding this this positive and negative
Make it
aspect.
please a little bit hot, yeah?
Yes.
That's all. Okay. Okay. I'm here.
Yes. This question is about the positive and the negative aspect in God, because later you say that this blue light and this golden light together form this original positive subject, and the positive subject holds the male position, and the negative object takes the female position, this golden light. And what can we think about this positive and negative, what you're saying, and why is the one male and the other one is the negative one?
First of all, the nature which came out in the dark eternity, this was a male nature, not a female nature.
Mhm.
Female nature would not survive. Okay?
Okay.
So now, what Chinese take negative and positive position, it is not like this. It is like this, is a harmony, like a summer coming, autumn coming, feeling coming. Like a you need a air, so God created your nose. So this is not a negative. Everything is positive actually.
Mhm.
So they are two different poles. When the nature of God came out, this was a male nature. But after timing cannot exist, God emotion, like Adam was feeling lonely. You understand me? This lonely feeling, and God wanted also a female subject. And this female was a golden light. And now give and take this light. So who is the child of God? Let's talk about this. Giving, take, golden and blue light. First child came. What is this child?
This white light.
White light. So with this white light, before God, golden and blue light have a give and take, and came another light, which God created eternal life, which is permanent, not a about, is permanent, 100%, no mistake. But then again, second child came out. What was his second child? White light, which he created different creation and external creation. So I can say like this, that all the golden heaven and internal life got first child, and angel and other and external creation got second child.
Mm.
I can say this too. But I give you one more example, generally.
Brother Julian, I think Messiah is having not feeling. So you have read my message, yeah? So
Got your
you
message.
can- Mm.
Yes.
What we have enjoying a sexual life, male and female, yes?
Yes.
When male and female meet, this is the, you cannot go through actually. This is the limitation, border. So, and this enjoy is not 100%. We can say 25%. But when I have a light and female light come to me, they can become together in oneness. Because the physical body is not the. So when they come together, this is a million times more enjoy than this physical enjoy. So when God created female light, this was where he came to know what is a real enjoy when you make a love. You got it?
Yes. Yes.
So what he giving us in the physical creation, it is about, he said, not 100%. Everything about. Yes? This is not created, it's created for short time. Yeah. I tell you something more, if you understand. When I make a love in my life, I had a many relationship. God light came, want to enjoy together,
Mm.
want to dwell, but then God saw some strange person. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Female who has no basis, who was not a God-centered. I was trying, they would come for God's will. And so God could not enjoy. You got it?
Yes. Yes.
But less is in future, if I have somebody who love God and I make a love, God will enjoy together. So this will be third union. You know union?
Yes.
Like a God, Son, Holy Spirit. This will be third union. So that's why God come but remain until me. Because after this, he sees strangeness. You got it? But let's say if somebody comes who loving God much more than this which I have now, then God will come and enjoy more.
Hmm.
And I can tell you about spiritual life. This exactly takes place when God's daughter in heaven, they make a love. Then God becoming third union. And this enjoy is trillion time more than enjoy with this what we have. You see that?
Wow.
That's it. Yeah.
And
So-
then if they have this union and a child comes out, is this essentially still coming from God then, or is it
Spirit coming by
from the?
Spirit coming by God, but the quality of child is different.
Okay.
Quality of my children and quality of your children are different. Do you understand me?
Yes.
So the union means God want to build one family world, but role model is the one family. Then bigger family is a society. Another bigger family is nation. Other bigger family is the world. Other bigger family is the cousins. You got? That's only extension. Yeah. And I saw the girls in my life who did not want to have God. What took place, their child could not follow God. And I was not there existing to guide them. Not even 50%, because they took away. I'm giving you this example so you have a clear understanding.
Hmm.
You understand me? It's going to help later other people. Yeah. So God dwelling very relatively according to you see the object and subject. So the sexual enjoy, which God enjoy, is a trillion times more than we have joy physically. Because this light was coming oneness in one ball actually. But because you don't know this joy, I know because I'm traveling many heaven. But I cannot describe you. You know, this you need a very similar growth like a God. Then you can come. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, one final question, if we still have the time,
Mhm.
was that
Yes. You can ask.
Sorry, very, very much sorry to interrupt you, Brother Julian.
yes,
We
please.
have received one question from Azur Christiana Khan on YouTube as well. Would you like me to read it for you before your last question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much. Azur Christiana Khan is asking, does God's form also need time to develop? Or did he only slip into the form of a child in dark eternity for your sake? Had this consciousness already grown up?
No. Development took time, step by step in God. Okay. It was not that one day was there. This is a very wrong concept. It was a slow process. In us, it's a quick process because God brought everything in order. But in God was this very slow process. So it means for God, process what you took eternal time period, for us it's taking quick, because now God is a God who came to know everything. That time, there was a God who don't know. So he came to know by his experiment. Yes. So nothing was that everything was one time there. Okay. Even the concept of external creation came much later, actually. So we can say process in God, langsam, slow motion. Process in us, quick, because now God have everything in order, and God is a subject. So nothing can go wrong, actually. So if Kasyana think that this light ball and this child, I don't know how long took God took, because maybe he came to know himself that how should I look? Do you understand me? So this process, how should I look? I don't know how much time was existing. Yes, but his growth in this age, what time cannot reach it. Yeah. So everything God took by step, slow motion. Nothing came just like Islam say, God just say and happen. This is a kindergarten, you can say. Yeah. But that has nothing to do with reality. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, my final question is also a little bit related to the form which God created. Because it says in this chapter, which we were discussing also, that through the give and take action of God's emotions and the blue light, another explosion happened through which the golden firelight came into existence. This is God's original negative and takes the female position. And then I could see,
I have female position.
yes, I could see then that there was a being inside the original positive blue light, which is in the subject position. So the question is that now this God created this light and he was inside. So is God now dwelling inside of his creation, or how could we think of this?
The child is dwelling in his mother's stomach.
No, but is the way it's described?
Certain process.
Yes,
Child is dwelling in her mother
yes,
9 months. So there was a process of development.
okay,
For us, it's process of time.
yes,
For God was a process of development.
okay,
But by no means he is dwelling in his own creation.
okay,
This was only one process, short process.
yes,
Yes. After this, he was out from the dwelling position.
yes,
But you can find his footprint, because when Sufi, he look at beautiful mountain, valley, flower, all this wonderful thing attract him to God actually. Do you understand me?
yes,
Nice songs, nice voice. So this was a timing of footprint that God was so deep in his creation. But it was not mean he was permanent living in his own. He went so deep to create everything. Do you understand me?
okay,
So that's why we can say we find footprint, but reflection. Like our earth, reflection of spiritual world. Here's the mountain. Here's a mountain, 8 kilometer. There's a mountain 8 billion kilometer. So small example you find.
Mm.
this creation. Yes. Also, the air you breathe with nose, spiritual life, everything breathe. It is like 1,000,000,000 times clean air than air condition.
Mm.
Everything is breathing. So God putting God putting small example for you to see a big thing, life after death. You see that?
Okay.
So because I know the process of death, that after this real life, and this life looked like a dream. This looked like dream. This is 1,000,000,000 times more aware in reality. So I don't know what was your question, but
Yes, it was about does God dwell inside of his creation? Because now in the text it says you are seeing this being inside of this light.
yes,
And also,
child is dwelling in her mother, but not forever. 9 months,
Hmm.
then he go out. He has nothing to do with mother womb. So God was dwelling in his creation when he was creating.
Mhm.
If I say, Atar, making painting, he went so far like he was dwelling in his painting.
Mm.
He lost the environment, yeah?
Yeah, I see.
So question is, did he enter in his picture? No. That's a footprint reflection. Yeah.
Yes. This point also makes me remember one question which a man once asked me on the street. A very simple question. He said, so when God has a form, then there is an inside and an outside of God. And what is the meaning of this?
God, you should know first thing, God was living without form.
Yes.
First, you have to come to know this. God was living without light. We cannot live without light. If a suddenly blackout come, that's it for us. God was living without light. God was living without, what I say, without light and without
Without form?
picture, form.
Yes.
God also was living without emotion. We have emotion. We cannot imagine not to have emotion. God was living without emotion. God was living without life. We cannot live without life. Do you understand me? God was living also beyond the dead matter, what we find out now. You see that? God was living conscious stage. But when God was unconscious, he was in the stage where he was not able to create anything. There was no concept and no reality. He only knew his existence, but he don't know environment existence. But we cannot live with all these things. We need it. So we say like this, God created this form for who? To introduce himself to his creation. But he is not depending on this light with this form. He's not depending to have this form. Yeah. And I tell you something, a few days ago, God put one blue heaven light in my shoulder. Okay? When this ball of light dominate my spirit, nothing remain that you can see it. Nothing remain. So I mean, I can live without external spirit, without internal spirit. So they are beyond many things what we have to come to know. Through me, God is laying the foundation for the future scientists, for future medicine, for future architects, for future spirituality and science. He's laying basic foundation. But who gonna develop, who gonna build the house on this foundation? Kingdom of God, God's son and daughter, who is coming in future. What you got 6,000 year science, this they will discover in 1 hour.
Wow.
It's like, okay,
Yes. Let's hope this future comes soon.
yes.
And let's make sure that that I do my responsibility also.
Yes,
Yes.
I mean, you're doing.
Yes, there's much more to do, I'm sure. So thank you so much for this time today and for answering all of these questions.
Yes.
I don't know if we have time for some more questions from our other members here. Otherwise, I would hand over to Mr. Atta for the Hindi session.
You can ask her.
Habt ihr noch andere Fragen? Do you still have other questions? Or Mr. Atta?
Thank you so much, Brother Julian. Actually, we have very less members today, tonight for the Urdu session also.
Okay.
If they want to ask any question, I'm comfortable with that too. Yeah, so they can also use same session to ask their question.
Okay. Elizabeth, Zander, do you still have some questions?
I'm driving, so I cannot ask right now. But thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you for this great lecture.
Thank you so much. You focus on the road.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, that's all questions for now from our audience. So then thank you so much for taking this time. And see you again next time.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Brother Julian.
Thank you.